Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Social Work 12 podcast. I'm Taylor, and I'm here with my co-host Faith, and we have a wonderful guest today, Marina. I don't want to mess up your bio or anything, so let's just get into it. Tell us who you are, what you
Yeah,
do, all that exciting stuff.
thank you. Thank you, Taylor, and thank you, Faith, for having me on
Yeah.
the show today. So I'm Dr. Marina Badillo-Diaz. I am an AI and social work enthusiast, but my background has been in school social work. From New York City, I've worked in K through 12 public schools as a school administrator, also doing a fellowship with the U.S. Department of Education. I serve on the board of the School Social Work Association of America. And I would say in the past, 3 years, I've been focusing on a consulting business that I have of doing trainings for school social workers and social workers across the country. And in the past year and a half, I've been really diving into the world of AI and how that's impacting our social work practice.
That's
You're,
so
oh
good
my
to hear,
gosh.
right? What? That's impressive. That's
I
like
I know.
very impressive.
I was just like, wow, you are. I mean, I we already knew you're a badass, but
Yeah.
just hearing it out like that.
That is very impressive. I'm like, okay. But it's really
Mhm,
interesting, the AI
mhm,
piece. Um,
mhm.
and so we'd love to start there, just talking to you about more AI, kind of what
Yes.
got you passionate about AI. So what inspired you to
Mhm.
start exploring kind of the intersection between AI and social work?
Yeah, no, that's a really great question. So the reason why I even got into AI is because, as you heard, I wear many different hats as a consultant, trainer. I
Mhm.
forgot to throw in there. I do teaching. I adjunct at a couple universities too, teaching
What
classes.
doesn't she do? What doesn't she
Yeah.
do?
So, but, a lot of us social workers wear many different hats, right? We have
Right.
our main job, our side hustle,
Hmm.
and, I didn't go to school to be a marketing expert. So, I'm trying to build my content on my Instagram account. And about a year and a half ago, I kept seeing these reels like, put
Mm.
this prompt into ChatGPT and you get all this free content. And I was like, well, why don't I try this? Right. Like I'm not that so great at marketing. Maybe this could really help me save time, maybe help me get some good ideas. And it just really blew me away. Just the simplicity of, copying that prompt, putting it to ChatGPT, getting all this information. And I was like, you know what, let me just dabble with this for my classes. Let's see if I can get some scenarios or discussion questions that I could really, really boost my lectures and activities. And it really just started growing from there, from my content for my Instagram account to really building into social work practice to really diving in a lot more deeply,
Mm.
following, different LinkedIn accounts, reading up on this, following other social workers who've been in the AI, and social work field for some time, and really trying to bridge this sort of, practice using generative AI intelligence, because that's a sort of newer sort of buzz now with AI. And I think it has huge implications for our field in many different ways.
Wow. I'm,
Mhm.
curious, as, Taylor and I are both social workers, obviously, and I
Mhm.
work in private practice. And so I've heard a lot
Yes.
of mixed things about AI, and there's a lot of, it's
Yes.
kind of like you're either for it or you seem to be a little
Mhm.
skeptical or worried about it. So how
Yeah.
do you kind of like what ethical issues do you see using
Mhm.
AI in social work, but also how can social workers navigate some of those ethical issues and in using
Yeah.
AI in their practice?
Yeah, no, and I think this is such an important conversation to be had because in same thing too, I've been talking to a lot of social workers, doing a lot of trainings. I've done some, national conferences with the NASW, some other chapters here
Mhm.
and there, and it is quite across the board. There's people who are really excited about this technology.
Mhm.
There are
Yes.
some of us that are really concerned about this technology, and that's completely
Hmm.
valid and that's
Yeah.
important. I think, one thing about our social work profession that I hold very, dearly is that we do have our code of ethics. We really think about things deeply and critically analyze things. And that's really important with this technology because you're right, there are ethical concerns. And part of my advocacy and training work is really talking about how to use these technologies ethically and responsibly.
Mhm.
So that
Right.
means, building competency around it. It means, joining
Mm.
trainings, reading up on it, practicing it. Also another area of like responsible and ethical practice is a lot of these tools, especially these free tools as well, like ChatGPT or Perplexity is like another one, or Gemini, that
Mm,
these tools are not HIPAA compliant, right? So
Right.
anytime that we use
right.
these as social
Hmm.
workers, we have to be really mindful about client confidentiality,
Yeah.
Hmm.
identifiable information. So I
Hmm.
always say if you're going to choose to use these tools, not only be competent in using these tools and understanding how to use them, but also never put any identifiable information.
Hmm.
And and also just being confidential in the information that you're putting in, that you're not putting anyone's name, any
Right.
identifiable information at your clients. And then lastly is, the other piece that I advocate for is that we can't take the human equation out of this experience. We are social workers. We are
Yes.
grounded on building strong relationships with our clients. And so we can't take the human aspect out of using these tools. So I always advocate and say if you're going to choose to use a tool like ChatGPT, all the information that it provides you, you have to read it, you have to go over it, you have to use your practice, wisdom, your education from your schooling. You can't just take it at face value because it can make mistakes, it can be biased. So you really can't take the human experience out of it. It really should be used as a tool to support you in your work and not replace the amazing things that you do as a social worker.
I'm curious in,
Mhm.
the trainings that you've done with social workers
Mhm.
around this, what
Mhm.
what specifically are some of their concerns about it, if
Yeah.
can
Yes.
remember?
No. Yes. No. Absolutely. And I think a part of it is, there's a tech gap. I think some people are not as necessarily comfortable, right, with technology, and I think that's something to honor, like acknowledge. So this is a new technology, so it might be the uncomfortability of using this tool. Another piece is, is it going to replace my job, right? What
Right.
I do as a social worker, we have a very highly skilled, profession. There's aspects of our job though, especially the administrative pieces of, potentially writing, client case notes or drafting a letter for a referral. Like there's some small pieces administratively that could definitely be supported with the use of AI. But there are, those concerns too about will this replace my job? There's therapeutic chatbots out there. Like, can this replace, therapy? So I know it's a real concern. And I
Yeah.
think too, the over reliance of these tools as well, because again, the ease of once you understand how to use this, it's easy. You can generate a lot of information really quickly. And so are people going to be over reliant? And I think there's also that concern, especially as like new social workers not having a lot of
Hmm.
practice experience, is there going to be an over reliance on these tools?
Mm.
So is the idea that it should be kind of something that supplements your practice but shouldn't replace your clinical skills. And you're able,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What are the kind of tools that can, that you talk about in your trainings or that you offer kind of
Mm-hmm.
to social workers that would be a supplement, which would make their, maybe give them more time to use,
Yeah.
towards client care or towards case management
Mm-hmm.
or towards, caring for their clients essentially. What are those tools that you find would help social workers?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great question. And I think this is where there's been a huge explosion in the different kind of tools out there.
Yeah.
So generative AI tools like ChatGPT, where, again, I think that's a great tool to use as a social worker. But again, it's a public, platform. So you have to be really mindful about, putting in confidential information that you don't want to put any of that information in there.
Hmm.
However, there is a tool known as Bastion GBT, and that takes Chat GBT technology, but it's a HIPAA compliant tool, which is
Mm.
great because it gives you the extra level of protection. It's HIPAA compliant, it's secure, it's not free. So I definitely want to put that out there. It's not free, but it's $20 a month. And I think that's a great alternative that if you are looking to spend a little bit, of money a month to get that extra security with using a tool that's again using ChatGPT technology, the generative AI technology, that might be a great option for you. We also have a social worker who's developed an AI tool called Social Work Magic AI. His
Ooh.
name is Ernesto, and it also uses ChatGPT technology. And what's super awesome about his platform is that it's super social work user friendly. It has
Cool.
templates already built into you to do different tasks for case management, clinical work, writing referral letters, just different things. there's a free trial associated, there's a cost associated with it too. But I think it's just super awesome that one of our own already is out there and
Yeah.
has developed a tool for us social workers to use. And kind of moving more in the clinical lens, there are, definitely tools out there that use, generative AI technology to record your therapy sessions that you have with your clients. And then within a matter of seconds, you can get a complete, case note that you can then submit to the insurance company. Of course, you want to read over it and make sure it's up to par what you need for
Hmm.
your client to submit. And those one of those companies that does this is Barry's AI. That's a company that does this work. Upheal is another one where they again they record your session. You have to have client, of course, consent to use
Hmm.
that. So you have to have that conversation with your client, they have to sign off on it. But it's
Hmm.
a great way again that these tools are HIPAA compliant, data secure, and some of these tools as well can analyze your therapy session, give you a breakdown and analysis of things that are
Whoa.
happening. It is mind blowing what these
Hmm.
tools can do. And there's one more plug I want to put in there is Umore is another tool that you could use
What's that
that also
one?
generates for you Umore.
Humor.
Umore, and it develops like CBT, therapeutic worksheets for you and your client. It's just like another tool that uses this generative AI technology. So it's all about what I say, like working smarter, not harder, and working ethically and responsibly with these tools. And
Yeah.
I do hope that this opens up the opportunity for people to explore more of these tools. But there's the free ones out there like ChatGPT that really uses the chatbot technology. But then there's all these other ones that again are more fine tuned to record your case notes and things like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, as a therapist myself, they're introducing on some
Mm-hmm.
of these EHRs the recording
Mm-hmm.
option where you can record the session and then they produce the
Mm-hmm.
case note for you. One thing that I
Mm-hmm.
found is kind of a hiccup with that is you have to read through the entire
Mm-hmm.
note and make sure there's nothing that is you wouldn't want an
Mm-hmm.
insurance company. It's unnecessary for an insurance company to know, and it's almost um, if you're doing a trauma case or something like that, you wouldn't want some of that
Mm-hmm.
detail in there. And so, do you have any tips for how that might become more labor
Yeah.
intensive actually for a social worker? And for me, knowing myself, I'd be
Yeah.
like, did I miss anything? Did I, And so for me right now, it's just
Yeah.
easier to write a note. Um, and also
Yeah.
that's giving space and time for me to clinically think through the case, use my clinical skills. Do you have any like suggestions or recommendations for therapists who do want to use that kind of AI tool, but it might create like another type of workflow,
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
kind of issue.
Yeah. No, and
Yeah.
and I'm glad you bring this up too, right? It's so important to stress that these tools are not perfect, and it's
Yeah.
not like a
Hmm.
simple fix just
Right.
to say, all right, I'm going to copy and paste what it gives me. I'm going to turn it into the insurance company,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that's the reason being is because it could add additional information. It might not be accurately worded. There might be things that you want to take out. So I
Mm.
always recommend you have to read through it. And that's just again, that's the human aspect of using these tools in partnership, right? You can't remove the human equation out of it. So
Right.
this is where I say, you have to, as a clinician, sort of say, like, how do I want to use this? If I want to use this, because it really is a choice to want to use it. Because I would
Mhm.
recommend definitely taking that extra step to read over the note and edit it, because you should not be using it if you're not going to take that step to edit the note.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
definitely get
definitely.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah.
what work do you want to do? Do you want to write it or,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
without the help, or do you want to just read it, have it do
Mm-hmm.
it for you, read
Edit.
it and edit? Yeah.
And know
Mm-hmm.
your personality. Are you the person who's be like, did I miss something? Or are you the personality that's like, oh, I feel good. I can just
Hmm.
skim and I feel confident in
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
that skill
Hmm.
set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah. Yeah.
thinking, I don't know, just talking about this, it makes me realize we have to have just realistic expectations for the AI
Mm,
tools,
Mm-hmm.
and not just expecting for it to, it's going
Mm-hmm.
to replace this part of my job. There's still, we still have to be, have our hands in it and edit and take out. And so just
mhm,
understanding
Mm-hmm.
that it's not going to completely just take over a task that you have to do,
mhm.
but maybe
Yeah.
someday.
Absolutely.
And client confidentiality is paramount always,
Absolutely.
and
Mm-hmm.
always
Mm-hmm.
considering if they want that in the session or
Mhm.
not. It's a third person essentially. That's how I view it in the session,
Mhm.
recording that information. And so, but most younger clients are kind of like, cool. Like they don't seem, it depends on the personality, depends on their,
Mhm.
what they want.
Mhm.
But it's also kind of like there are benchmarks and kind of things that hold. There's accountability in the process. It's not just like a free for all, right? When it comes
Right.
to AI. And I
Mhm.
think
Hmm.
that that's important too with the
Mhm.
education piece is like you're getting client
Yes.
approval. You're not just like having somebody record
Mhm.
the session.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marina,
Absolutely.
I'm curious,
Yeah.
specific tasks that
Yeah.
you use it
Yes.
for, or maybe it sounds like you use it a lot, as do I,
Mhm.
but I'm just
Mhm.
curious, what are some of your favorite things to use it for? Do you use ChatGPT
Yes.
mostly?
Yes, I do. I'm definitely a big fan of using ChatGPT. I also use Perplexity a lot, and the reason why I like
Okay.
Perplexity as well too is for the research aspect. And even though
Mm.
ChatGPT recently now has put this technology into that will actually give you the source and the site that you can click on to where you get where it gets the information from.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
Oh,
Perplexity's been doing that for a while, which is why I love the tool Perplexity. I also use Claude 3.5. That's another free tool as well to use because I'm not in private practice. I'm not doing direct work with clients. The work that I do now is a lot around training, workshops, consulting. And so a lot of the times how I'm using ChatGPT, really I use it like my personal assistant to help me write messages, to help me write emails, to help me edit my work, create outlines, help me
Hmm.
draft things for a workshop for my training, to help put together some discussion questions for my class. Even some fun personal uses like I really wanted to bake something. So we put in, the prompt to then create like a chocolate cake, an olive oil chocolate cake that I wanted to make. Like it's there's so many
that's
ways you can
fun.
use
How did it
it.
come
Yeah.
out?
It actually came out really good. We're gonna try it again for Christmas. I told my siblings. Yeah, no, it
Awesome.
was kind of, just different ways that you could also help. I love traveling, so it also can help out with travel plans too, to kind of put together an itinerary for you. So there's just
Yes.
again, it really is my personal assistant to help me
Yeah.
in so many ways. Yeah. What
Yeah.
about what
I
about you, Taylor? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I use it very
Mm,
similarly. I love the
Mm,
outline, just
mm,
personal assistant in general. One
mm,
task that I heavily used it
mm,
for most recently is I'm getting my website redone, and
mm-hmm.
you know, the words on your website, kind of
mm,
where you should say something and how you should say it and all of that, just kind of
mm,
it helped me a lot. Just, I have a vision in my head on and just the
mm,
philosophy of social work to wealth and
mm,
my feelings around, how I want this to impact people and social workers. And so it really helped me get just, I don't know, more concise and specific in my messaging for my website.
mm,
So that was huge. I think Faith, you said you used it for your
yeah.
website too, right?
Yeah, I did use it for my website
Mm,
for my private practice. I think
mhm,
though, when I've seen you use it, it's been more like this process of elimination. Like you would write something up and then you'd be like, well, let's see what, AI can
mhm,
give me. And then you put it in there and you'd be like, I don't love that. Let me try this. Oh, I
Hmm.
don't love that. Let me try that. And so again, it's not just like it's this like elimination process to like tease down or kind of
Yeah.
like get down to
Yeah.
what you really wanted the wording to be.
Hmm.
Um,
mhm,
so that's kind of cool too, to kind of see it as like this tool of being able to actually craft
mhm,
what you had in your mind of in your vision. And it
mhm.
does go a lot faster.
It really
Saves a ton
does.
of time.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
definitely does.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
the editing
Mhm.
piece too. I had to write
Yeah.
a personal statement,
Yeah.
and I wrote it up, and I felt good about it, but I just put it in there and just said, "Give me some edits, and give me some critiques," and I
Mm.
really
Mhm.
loved, I really loved the edits that it gave me. Like, I have my own personal editor just here for
Yes.
free, and
Yeah.
they were
Yep.
amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mhm.
You mentioned your consulting and
Yes.
just
Mhm.
I'd love to get into that. I know that, social
Yeah.
workers, I've seen discourse online of social workers wanting to get into consulting, and it's just
Mhm.
so ambiguous, because there's no
Yeah.
real blueprint of you go to school, you get this, I mean, you go to school, get this degree, social work degree, and then what?
Mm.
So
Yep.
how did you
Yeah.
start? How did you even start the
Yeah.
your business and yeah, just take us back.
Yeah. Yeah, no, well, we go all back to the pandemic era because I think that's what really sparked
Mm.
my interest of really wanting to do consulting. 'Cause at that point in time, during the pandemic, I was obtaining my DSW, so I was in a doctoral program.
Mm.
I was a school administrator for an alternative high school. I was also teaching for the first time as an adjunct professor. And I was like, there's a lot happening, very, very stressful time. And I think I was part of the great resignation of people who were like, I want something different. I want more work-life balance.
Mm.
And I think that's what
Mm-hmm.
really sparked me and inspired me. I have other social work colleagues who have gone out to do consulting, start their own private practice, start a group practice. And so I was always really inspired by that. And in 2021 is when I finally took the plunge. I decided to leave my position full time to then get some contracts. And honestly, the way that I really transitioned, and I'm so grateful for my network of incredible people that I've made, connections with in the field. And that's what really helped me transition. Also from, getting my LLC, trying to figure out how to get a business account, like all these things, get your website, like these some basic things that I had to sort of figure out. But I wasn't alone. I really tapped into my network of some awesome social workers, also some other people in my life who started a business because without their support, their own consultation, and just asking a lot of questions and research, I think that's what really sort of sparked me into this sort of next pathway of my career, where yeah, I, in transparency, like right now, I'm doing my consulting, my training part time, and then I also supplement my income with teaching as well, and I teach as an adjunct professor too.
Hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
That's
go
a
ahead.
theme, right? Taylor, that's a
Mm-hmm.
theme that we've noticed about tapping into your
Mm-hmm.
network when you're trying
Hmm.
to start a
Mm-hmm.
business. Like I
Hmm.
did
Mm-hmm.
that, you've done that, Taylor. Like that's I feel
Hmm.
like a theme that we've heard.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
specifically for consulting, I
Mm.
think that
Yeah.
networking piece and your, yeah, just it
Mm-hmm.
seems it it seems the way for your consulting business to kind of start and take off because I don't know, I'm thinking, if you don't have people that you in your network, so
Mm.
how would you start your consulting business? It's like, okay, I need to
Right.
start marketing myself online. You would need to
Yep.
start networking
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
to find people that are wanting to pay for your services, right?
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And it's honestly, I mean, I would say majority of my contracts that I've gotten throughout the years has really been through people in my network and my contacts. And I'm truly grateful for those connections as well. I'm also learning the land of marketing and how to market myself on LinkedIn and also market myself on a website, market myself
Hmm.
on Instagram,
Mm.
also presenting at conferences and publishing. Like these are other ways that I found an avenue of marketing myself to get new training contracts, but it's been a journey to figure this out in the last couple of years. But I am
Yeah.
very very appreciative to the people in my network who've been there along the way.
Have you gotten any new
Mm.
contracts from some of these things that you've been doing from someone that you
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know, after you presented or like
Yes.
have you seen that be effective?
Yes, and like definitely speaking at the NASW has opened up doors to getting more
Really?
more training. Yes, yes. So I highly
Mm.
recommend that if this is something that you're of interest to want to do more trainings and workshops, it's such a great national platform to put yourself out there, and so that's also happened through because I in the school social work realm as well. I've gotten contracts through that way too of speaking at the National School Social Work Conference. I'm also right now at NYU doing a school social work certificate. And because that was published on a website, the UFT, teaching union had reached out to me to do a training for their school social work chapter. So you just like never know
Mm.
Wow.
how this happens. Yeah.
That's
And even my
awesome.
Instagram account had gotten some hits from, some interest from there. Uh, Similarly to I did a whole new branding because initially my brand wasn't the AI social worker because in 2021 I was just, MABD consulting, and that still was my LLC because then I was really focusing on social work training, supervision, especially in school social work
Mm-hmm.
supervision, also social emotional learning programming, and doing contracts through that in a couple of schools. But really, because this whole thing that happened with AI and my journey about a year and a half ago, I was like, this is a huge, opportunity to really build a brand, do trainings, but also be in service of the field as well too. So a big part of my brand and my work is I have this brand called the AI Social Worker. In January, I launched a new website. Well, I launched a new website in August, but I launched a blog in beginning of this year in January, where I blog about AI and social work practice. I have an Instagram account where the AI social worker, where I give free resources. Same thing on my LinkedIn. I give lots of free resources. I have a free guidebook. I have a free prompts library with over 30 prompts for social work practice on my AISocialworker.com website too.
How
So I
did
just feel
you,
like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
That's amazing. How did you decide
Hmm.
to go from what it sounds like kind of more traditional consulting work that we would maybe hear
Hmm.
about or see within the social work field to like, I'm going to
Yeah.
switch to AI? I know you saw it as like maybe a need
Yeah.
in our profession, like, but how did you
Yes.
feel like, okay, I'm going for this?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Because I'm like, I'm going on a whim right now too, right?
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of, I was
There's
like,
not a
I
lot out
can,
there.
there's not a lot out there. And I think that actually turned out to be like a superpower in this, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think there definitely was this insecurity, right? Imposter syndrome, right? This is something very new. But honestly, I was really inspired by AI outside of the social work space. So AI in education, like K through 12 education, for instance, has just been exploding with people on LinkedIn, just ed
Mm-hmm.
tech companies just across the country. There's just some phenomenal people in the education space really being advocates and talking about AI, pushing for legislation, pushing for policy, pushing for schools to think about how they're going to be teaching, children with AI. And I think kind of being again tangentially in the education field, I
Mm-hmm.
think really inspired me to say, we need someone like this in social work, right? And there's also all these, incredible tech people in the LinkedIn space who are posting about AI for marketing, AI for education, but I didn't really see anything about social work. And I think that really inspired me to take that leap of faith and, put it out there. And I've been really appreciated by the reception, and we'll continue to do this work. I mean, I'm a year in because I started January of this year, and really wanted to see where it went. And I'm just really excited to what's to come next.
That's really cool. You're so
Yeah.
cool.
You're so cool. I'm just like, this is so great to listen
This,
to you.
I
I,
know. I know.
but
I'm just like in awe,
I
honestly.
know, I know.
Thank you.
And I think one of the things that Taylor and I are trying to also do with this podcast is inspire young social workers
Yeah.
to
Yes.
obviously increase their wealth, take these opportunities, find kind of what it sounds like is you
Hmm.
kind of saw a need, but it also was
Hmm.
a kind of a niche need
Hmm.
and just pursued it and kind of went
Hmm.
after it and being bold in that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
one of the things though, that we find holds us back is this whole narrative of social workers aren't in it for the money. They're in it for,
Yeah.
the outcome, or you shouldn't, you didn't get into the industry for the money. Did you ever hear
Yeah.
that messaging? Um, and like in your social work career, have you ever heard that messaging that you're not in it for the money? And how did you, again, like navigate that, and
Yeah.
figure out what to charge in your consulting, how to navigate kind of that business side?
Hmm. Yeah. And I will say I'm still on the journey with that too. I want to
Yeah.
be very transparent with our audience, right? Because I think that's something internally I've grappled with too, right? We
Yeah.
we come into this field to do work for the community, by the community,
Hmm.
and I think that's part of like my mission, right? So I think where I've tried to land is a balance in that, a balance of yes, I need to charge for my consulting fees. I have my colleagues that I call up. I'm like, okay, I want to ask for this amount. I have my crew of people who will help me like hype up to like say, okay, you can do this, like give me a
Yeah.
confidence boost to say this is what I should be
Yeah.
charging. This is my fee. And like I said, it's definitely taken a growing journey to get there. But I think where I also find my balance too is I do feel like I'm in service, and my service before was being to the clients and the school and the school community. And I really see myself now being in service of the field, right? So
Mm,
that's why I have my website with the free, prompt library. That's why I have my Instagram account with posting free resources, the blog, because I really do feel I'm always grounded in that need of being in service,
Mm.
and doing that work. And also at the same time, I need to make a living. I need to
Mm-hmm.
charge for trainings. I need to, be able to make some money doing that. And I think one of the biggest game changers, I think for me was, you know, getting my doctorate degree. I think that really helped boost my confidence to say, okay,
Mm.
I'm confident to be a consultant. I'm confident to say I could charge, this amount of money. And I know there's people out there who you don't need a DSW to do that. And I'm always truly in awe of my colleagues who have tons of experience who charge because as you should. And I think our field also needs to do a better job. And I think a lot of times with not-for-profits, it's hard, but to
Yeah.
also, if you invite someone to speak, give an honorarium, give at least something, to
Hmm.
say, I'm paying for your time. Because I think it's not just putting the onus on the individual themselves, but I think as a field collectively, we should be we should be paying for people's time and work and expertise. I'm all for putting my name out there and speaking for free and engagement. But I think collectively, I think we could do better at that also.
Absolutely. How did you figure
Yeah.
out your
Mm.
first, invoice
Yeah.
that you sent,
Yeah.
whenever it was in your business? Like, how did you figure out
Yes.
how much you were
Yes.
going to charge this person or business or
Tell
whatever?
tell us
Yeah.
the details. We want the
Yes.
details.
No. All right. So I'm going to be, shouting out one of my incredible colleagues. His name is Michael Ramos,
Okay.
Mm.
and he's an incredible social worker who, again, was a consultant, trailblazer, in his own right for a number of years. I met him at Smith College for the postgraduate supervisory training certificate program. And he was one of the first person that I had called to say, I want to take the plunge. I want to become a consultant. And he's like, I got you. Like, whatever you need, I got you. I'm excited for you. And we still talk about this conversation to this day because we are
Mm.
still in touch. We still support each other in our consulting work and we still collaborate on projects. So not only was he my first contract because he had a private practice, or sorry, a group practice across 4 states. He's like, I will be your first contract. I will help you get, supervision training contract with me. And we're going to talk about the fees. And he was a really great coach and trying to coach me how
Wow.
to sell myself, how to do my first invoice. It was
Hmm.
really his Google sheet. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm so
Yeah.
appreciative to the people out there in this field who
Mm.
pay it forward. And I certainly have done the same of people in my network as well too, because we have to uplift each other in this work
Right.
because we didn't go to school for it. We didn't get training in this in school
Right.
either.
Right.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I am very, very grateful to Michael Ramos in my consulting journey because he was really the person who really showed me the ropes and got me my first contract.
Oh,
That's amazing.
shout out
Yeah.
Michael.
Woo!
Yeah.
We we like you.
I love that. I feel
Yeah.
like, yeah,
I do
I
too.
I remember in our program we didn't talk,
Hmm.
I didn't hear about consulting once.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah.
Did
Mm.
you, Marina?
No.
And you
No,
got your
honestly, it really
doctorate.
was. Yeah. So my doctorate a bit more because I think that
Okay.
were also not to say majority of the people in my cohort work full time. A lot of them were in private practice, so definitely had some entrepreneurial, new business, folks who are in the
Mhm.
clinical sort of space.
Okay.
And again, I think the GSW program, I think also prepares you a little bit more to have those kind of conversations and thinking about that.
Hmm.
But
Oh,
it wasn't so
interesting.
concrete still.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like here's how to get an LLC. It was more of the conversation amongst our peers to kind of talk about that. Because again, the DSW
Oh,
program really helps you sort of think about what's your what's your what's your focus of your social work sort of, I like to say the word brand, but it's the area of your expertise, right?
Yeah.
So that was really instrumental in sort of as you go through the program of thinking about what is your area of expertise, is what you're writing your publishable papers on, what you're writing your capstone on, and really thinking about, some people in my cohort were doing trainings, were getting paid to do this work. And it was exciting to see they were doing that. And it was inspiring to me having those kind of conversations. But there never was like a class on here's how you get your LLC, here's how you market
Hmm.
yourself, here's how you, become, this consultant, person after after you finish the program. And I think that's also a real niche. Like maybe that should be someone's consulting business right there.
Right,
So,
right. Like
Yes.
helping other social workers. I mean, that's part of what
yes,
we're trying to do
yes, yes,
here,
right.
with social work to wealth. We're
Wink, wink.
Yeah, yeah.
we're not, I mean, we're not consulting, but it's just
We're
like
not, we're not, we're not.
we're wanting to get
Yeah.
this information, which
Hmm.
it's
Out
amazing that
there.
you're here, being able to talk
Yeah.
about AI and just this consulting, just ambiguous,
Hmm.
Yeah.
thing that social workers can do. Like we're wanting to share resources
Totally.
through social work to wealth that we never got
Yes.
in school because there's so much that we can do in this profession.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
I get it. We only go through we only have 2 years of our grad program. There's only so much that we can learn, but
Hmm.
still
Hmm.
there just weren't any of these conversations at all. Maybe
Hmm.
one lecture or one
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know. So anyways,
Yeah.
we're trying to share the wealth here, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Love that.
so we
Love that.
we appreciate you being a part of it.
We do, we do.
So we're gonna end with our money moment. And
Yes.
I know some people, if you've been listening to this, you know what the money moment is, but for
Mm.
anyone, if this is your first episode, it's essentially just us sharing, well, we're gonna have Marina share hers, a significant moment, insight from the week, whether it be a technique, a tip, resource, reflection. It literally could be anything about money. Just,
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
so impactful in all of our lives and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I feel like we have to always think about it. I think Faith and I talked about this. I wonder how many times a day that I have to think about money. It's just one
Hmm.
of those
Hmm.
things. So,
Hmm.
anyways, Marina, what is your money
Yes.
moment?
So my money moment that I want to chat about real quickly is I love my travel chase card. So I am someone
Hmm.
who super passionate about traveling. I love to
Yes.
travel. Um, and I can't tell you enough that I just love purchasing things with my, Chase travel card to get all those points. It's saving money on flights, hotels. But another really, really great tip I like to say about for money moment with traveling is Google Flights. I don't know if you've ever used
Mm.
Google Flights with there's search functions that you can look at the whole, you pick a destination, like say I'm flying from New York City, and you could just literally look at the whole globe to see how expensive it is to go to different places at different times or the next
Mhm.
6 months. And I've gotten some incredible deals going, flying from New York City to Europe for 180 one way with
No
some
way.
flights. Yes, yes. I'm telling you. So I'm a
Wow.
big avid traveler and I'm a
Hmm.
big avid user of using Google Flights. You could also say, for instance, you're searching for a flight, let's say in April to go to Paris. You could actually save it on Google, on the Google Flight search function, and you'll get periodic emails. The flight goes up, the flight goes down. So you could purchase it at the right time. So I'm a big fan of Google Flights. We could do a whole other podcast on Google Flights if you
Oh,
want,
I know, right? What
because
Hmm.
I'm obsessed with travel deals.
what Chase card do you have? Because I have a few and
Yeah.
I love the Chase, atmosphere or
Yeah,
whatever sphere.
yeah, the Chase Sapphire account for the travel
That
points
is
and
that
stuff.
is my favorite card. Yeah.
I
Yes,
don't
it's a
have a
big one.
travel card. I need to get one. This
Oh,
I
you do
talk
need
about
to
this
get
all the time
one.
with my husband. I'm like, we need to get this. So
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
great.
And
Thanks for the advice.
I love the Chase one because you can get points for anything, you
Okay.
know,
Mhm.
versus having either,
Mm.
I also have an Alaska Airlines card. And
Mm,
so I don't know, I feel like with my Alaska Airlines, I can only use the
mhm,
points in Alaska, to buy flights. But with the
mhm.
Chase Sapphire, you can go through their portal and use it for a flight.
Yep,
You can use it for a hotel, rental car, whatever.
yep,
But the thing
That's
about the
yeah.
awesome.
points is you have to pay your card off every month so that you're not
Mhm.
charged interest.
Which is
Yes,
a good
yes,
money management skill.
Yeah,
We want
yeah.
yes,
that, right? We don't want to get into debt. I'm for that.
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Well, Marina,
Mhm.
this was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank
Please
you.
tell everyone where they can find you, what resources you have. Just
Yes.
tell them everything.
Yeah, so www dot, well, I think I put too many W's in there, but the AIsocialworker.com is where you can find me. You could also find me on Instagram at the AI Social Worker as well. My email, Marina at mabdconsulting.com is also where you could find me too, but also just finding me on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. It's a great way to network and connect with me. I always welcome new followers. Just message me. I love to collaborate and connect and build community. So love to hear from your audience.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Thank
much. This was
you.
amazing. I'm
Thank
like,
This is
you.
great.
this is why like having a podcast is awesome because we
Hmm.
just get to talk to
Hmm.
cool people, you know? We
Mhm.
just get to invite it's love this.
I do too.
Yes.
I
Well,
love
thank you
this. This
both.
is great. Sorry for
Yes.
being late again, guys.
No
No,
worries.
no
Ah.
worries. No worries.
All right, y'all. We
Cool.
we'll talk to you next time.
Yes. Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.